Good evening. Welcome to the Friday Study Circle. Let's start with just 1 minute of just gathering ourselves, connecting with ourselves to our breath. We are all breathing, but we don't connect to our breath, right? We know that. So just taking a small pause, breathing in, staying with the breath, and breathing out, staying with the breath. Yes, thank you. Such a simple thing, the breathing that keeps us alive, and yet we are so away from it. So it's good to come back to it again and again, even if it's for, moments. But it's these moments that really make, us more alive and more present. So, yeah. So, we have started the sunlit part in the Friday study circle. So, we read one passage, and after that, we take personal reflections, personal sharings. If there aren't any, then we'll take another passage. So starting with the Sunlit part again, we have just covered two passages till now, the Great Adventure and the Sublimest of Adventures. And now we'll take a decisive turning point. So this is the last passage in the first session. So if anybody wants to read, they can read. Jayashree ji, in case you want to read the first few lines, if you can unmute and read, that would be great.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
At the moment, we are at a decisive turning point in the history of the earth once again. From every side, I am asked, what is going to happen? Everywhere there is anguish, expectation, fear. What is going to happen? There is only one reply: if only man could consent to be spiritualized.
Yes, thank you. What amazes me is that when we are reading these texts, it's like, okay, 100 years back, then also it was the same situation, right? Like right now also we could say during COVID time also, decisive, something is about to happen. So it's good to know that how life is always happening, right? Things are always happening because somehow they feel a bit static at times, that nothing seemed to be happening. So one thing is that, and plus, of course, how big at this moment is, right? Like here, mother is saying at the moment. And yet that moment has been stretched for, I don't know, 150 years. So it's very humbling and it's very enlightening, right? Like sometimes we get frustrated with ourselves, right? That I'm working on this and it's been so long. When will I change? When will I don't know, be able to drop this? And yet, when you read these things, it gives you some grounding that it's all right. So, at the moment, we are at a decisive turning point in the history of the earth once again. From every side, I'm asked, what is going to happen? We all want to know, right? There's anguish, expectation, fear. This anguish, expectation, fear, I don't know, it felt positive to me because a lot of times we feel that, we live and yet our living is not very alive. So at least we are not sleeping, right? Like we are not just living like, I don't know, boxes from a factory. So if there is anguish, if there is expectation, if there is fear, how beautiful. That means that, we are wondering, we are alive and something more is possible. So what is going to happen? So there is only one reply: if only man could consent to be spiritualized. Now, time and again, we have been told that one thing God doesn't do, and that is, no, He doesn't forces Himself on you. The consent, the yes has to be yours. And when you say yes, it doesn't, it means that then you are saying yes to so many things that are wanting to, I don't know, mold you and rub you into something lighter and brighter and wiser. I mean, I don't know, these are all terminologies that make sense. I don't know what the rub would be for. I say I want it, but am I really given consent? Because if I say, okay, yeah, kind of, for example, vaccinate me, I'm giving consent, then I should be ready for the pinch, right? I have to be ready for the injections. So if I'm saying yes, and then if I'm running away, if I'm getting distracted, if I'm all over, then that consent is not an honest consent. So, this can be really reflected on if only man could consent to be spiritualized. So, just I will mute now and please share any reflections that are coming on this.
Yeah, hi, on road. आ रही है आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, perfect आ रही है.
Okay. I think वो this reminds me of that sentence जो श्री अरबिंदो सावित्री में बोलते हैं ना, it like मतलब when the divine is wanting to change us, it's like a eternal no, अभी नहीं कुछ समय बाद, and a limping yes. So yes बोलते भी हैं, ऐसा नहीं है, क्योंकि हमें भी this discontent and anguish that you were talking of, तो हमको भी, क्योंकि we all are progressive beings and we all want to be better and better versions of ourselves. So ऐसा नहीं है कि हम चाहते नहीं है, but it's like something कि जो पुराना है वो इतना ज्यादा comfortable और familiar लगता है कि छूटता ही नहीं है. So a limping yes because we want to be better, but eternal no because the comfort just all the times it just kills me, and yet not, I'm not ready to leave it. So this just reminds me of that limping yes and eternal no. Or just as you were sharing ki, uh, that the rubs and all the blows in life that we get, I think there also, if we really look at the blows that we had in our lives or all the experiences that have shaped us, I think it would be very clear that they have molded us in a better way. It's not that for those of us who have taken them in a right attitude. So, अगर उस पे reflect करते हैं, if we reflect upon that yes, aren't these difficult experiences shaping me to be a better, kinder, softer, and more confident, in the sense you have respect for your own self, being, and then you say yes, if you have really made use of all these difficulties, and then you don't mind the difficulties also. So yeah, and still we keep saying no, 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 no. So yeah, just some musings on the road. I hope makes sense. Feel a bit lost on the road.
Absolutely. I think there's something in me that just wants to protect me from everything, right? So when I recall something, like you said, right, like a challenging time, a time where I suffered, somehow one has this thing that, okay, it was so hard. I don't see what it gave me. I just see the effort that was needed. And that took something from me, right? So, like you said, if we look at it in the right attitude, then it's a different thing. I mean, if one has the grace to be able to laugh when one is crying, or see when one is crying that, okay, this is what I'm crying for while it's happening or after. That's also grace, because a lot of times kind of something of our victimhood, that, oh god, what all I had to go through, because it touches us deeply to make us alive. You're not able to move on from there. Yeah. And one another small thing, when we say about consent, or when we say about, okay, I want to walk light, or, I want to be enlightened, or mujhe mukti chahiye. Somehow we just feel that, okay, here I am, and zoom or boom, and I'll be like, okay, the Nanak, right? I don't see the steps I'll have to take. So I say, yes, yes, I want. Why don't I? Why won't I want it? What kind of a sentence is this, that I don't say yes to be spiritualized? But when the pain starts, when the challenges start, then I'm like, oh, no, 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 too much, too much. Wait, wait. I want my comforts. I want my patterns. I want my roles and everything. So that's also a bit tricky and challenging, and how it works, that I don't see that steps will have to be taken to be where I am. Anybody, please, anything? Yeah. So we can take the next para. Shyam, would you like to read this? Shyam, you're not audible. Your voice is breaking very badly. No, I can't hear you at all. Yeah, I can't hear you at all. Uh, Snehi, would it be possible for you to read it? I think there's some issue at Shyam's end.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And perhaps it would be enough if some individuals became pure gold.
Sorry, sorry.
And perhaps it would be enough if some individuals became pure gold. For this would be enough to change the course of events. We were faced with this necessity in a very urgent way. This courage, this heroism, which the divine wants of us, why not use it to fight against one's own difficulties, one's own imperfections, one's own obscurities? Why not heroically face the furnace of inner purification so that it does not become necessary to pass once more through one of those terrible, gigantic destructions which plunge an entire civilization into darkness?
Yes, thank you, Snehi. Any reflections from your end on this?
Yeah, I would have to read it once again. I think.
Yeah, sure, take your time.
I think if we really reflect upon this, it feels like whenever there is any difficulty, then if I have this attitude that, let me take it in that attitude, that what it has to give me, how it's trying to shape me. And then this struggle that is there when I'm not ready to leave my old self, yet the new wants to come. For example, if I get a disease, so rather than crying that why did this happen to me, and why not others, and I was doing yoga, I was eating healthy, why did this? So rather than spending so much of energy there, if I can really be open to what it has to give me, what is the signal, I think then really so much of drainage of energy is saved also. So this anguish that we were talking of in the earlier paragraph, तो anguish तो यही है ना कि पुराना छोड़ना नहीं है, नया आना चाह रहा है क्योंकि पुराना बहुत फेमिलियर है, नए को आने नहीं दे रहे, और नया पता नहीं है कि कैसा होगा, तो उसका है ना, वो है थोड़ा सा apprehension. So this anguish, I was feeling like as if we are traveling in two boats. The new is the divine boat, and the other one our comfortable settling zones. And दो बोट में सवारी करते हैं तो फट जाती है पैंट बीच से, तो वही हमारा हाल हो जाता है। हाँ, ना इधर के ना उधर के। And this pure gold again, as mother says, I think it is a possibility, or not only a possibility, like a birthright for each one of us becoming pure gold, if only we allow the hammers and the chiseling and all that to happen. So as you were sharing that we don't notice, maybe we focus too much on the pain, but we don't see what it is giving us, how it is shaping us. And if we take time to reflect, okay, pain is there, pain may be there, but how has it changed me as an individual? Then we can actually be grateful for what we have been shaped into. And then mother says, for this would be enough to change the course of events. So the anguish need not be there, the suffering need not be there, if only I agree to move on. I remember this is the case, when we are going through desires. So I'm stubbornly sticking to my desire, and I'm just wanting to fulfill it, not ready to transcend the desire. And it causes us so much suffering. I've been through that suffering, very fresh taste. So, and once I'm ready to drop that stubbornness, to understand the nature of desire and what it does to me, once I'm ready to leave that stubbornness, I think then the game changes. I don't need to suffer that much, the suffering that desire brings. Yeah.
While you were sharing, I think there is one more thing that needs a bit of clarity, I don't know, or just focus, that somehow in the world that we live, whenever we are undergoing a challenge or suffering, that's considered a punishment, right? Like we hear this sentence so often that, he was so nice, he was so kind, and yet, that happened to her, this happened to her. I remember, when my brother passed on, like there were people that were saying that, oh, but he was so good. And there were others who were so mean. That guy, he's so mean. So I was looking at it, and it wasn't a hilarious time for me. And yet it was funny that we are nominating people. That, okay, death is a punishment. So if somebody has to die, better be the one who I don't like, right? Like I don't approve of. Look at what I'm saying. Like unbelievable, right? And I find it very surprising how we take death as a punishment. We don't see that it has nothing to do with it, right? Like again, if it's an actor and he's been given a role in which, I don't know, his leg breaks, and if he just keeps crying that, oh my god, it's, of course, I know it hurts, it pains, I'm not saying that, and yet He was talking about our conception, our basic idea that it's a punishment. It's a punishment. You must have done something bad for bad to happen to you. But if I'm looking things holistically, the whole picture, which I never usually do, I see that it's the bad that makes me, makes my consciousness lighter, makes me more conscious. So how can it be a punishment? It has to be a blessing. Like, and I remember that one of my friends, and we have all, I guess, touched that space. She was going through a really hard time, one challenge over the other, one challenge. And she was like, one day she was like, oh my God, somebody up there loves me so much that he's just, like at it. And she didn't say it as a sarcasm. She said it as a lot of, gratefulness. So be able to recognize that my pain, what it's doing to me while in pain. It's pretty awesome. So even this, it's like how keep wow, that yes, please.
Sorry for that. Darwaza bang. Yeah, please go ahead. I'll go later.
Yeah, I was just saying that there's something about us that keeps bringing the focus outside, right? That people, that person doesn't take shower in 5 days, or that person kind of does this, while there's so much work to be done on ourselves, right? That so it's hilarious when we do that, but here when mother is saying that even if some are able to transcend, right? If some are able to let go and consent, that's enough. So again, it brings the focus back on ourselves, and we are faced with this necessity in a very urgent way. Like somewhere it said, I think, I don't know, it's very delicate, that Kabir Doha, right? Like धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए माली सींचे सौगड़ा ऋतुआए फल होए. So as in one doha is that, right? That it will take its own time, and yet there are dohas which say that your life is going waste. So again,
Yeah.
so here my mother says this. Yeah, please.
मैं कह रही थी एक तो the fact about that material thing, that if something is happening to me materially, like body wise dying, or like getting a disease, illness, maybe happening something to my limbs, then it's taken as a punishment. I feel that one part if appears also to me, that we mostly consider ourselves material beings, that I am this body. So there is so strong identification with the body, that if something happens to the body, or the body gets deformed and in some or the other way, or goes to death, then it's like something has befallen upon me, because the way I look at me is the material self. That is who I am. All the time we are cranking about what food to eat, what lunch to eat, what is the next meal to have. So all the time the focus or the identification is so much on the bodily self, that if something happened to the body or to my family, I feel that something has befallen upon me. While if we change the perspective, if I look at myself not as the bodily self, but something beyond the body self, then I think the overview will change, the shift will happen, that oh wow, it's helping me to expand in consciousness, even my illness, or whatever seeming tragedy. So then, as you were sharing that, whatever the anecdote about the friend that you were sharing, that it's actually a grace if you get more and more difficulties, because with difficulties you see that you grow. And usually hunky dory life, somehow we are made that way, that lots of inertia, we don't seem to grow. And for those of us who get a taste of this growth, growth in consciousness, progression, then they don't mind the difficulties, because they know that okay, it has come for some good, some higher good, and I'm ready for that. Yeah. And this urgency that you were talking of, and the doha that you shared, so I feel that it's like as if in different levels of our consciousness, again shared to different people. So for those of us who are still settled in the comfort zones, not wanting to venture out, for them he would say urgent, urgent, go out, expand your horizons. And for those who are already on the path, but at times we get like, when will I be okay? It doesn't seem to change. I'm still the same. For them, he would say, please, take time. It takes time. It takes time. Because even when we are on the path, things take time, their own time and practice to change and to manifest itself in nature. So for a long time, it appears that nothing is happening. Yeah.
With these material things that you were talking, like, the injuries, loss of things, or just pain, I think it brings about, a helplessness, a feeling of helplessness because things are beyond us, right? But we have this false perception that I am making the world go round. So I think when we see that total lack of control over our lives, something in us cries out, right? That no, no, my God, see how helpless I am. And again, in those games, I don't know, we, yeah, I guess, yeah, but
Yeah,
this
I think
helplessness,
that's also beautiful because in usual day-to-day life, we think that we are not helpless and we are the doers. Although even there, it's only grace that works. So if I'm even able to do something, it's grace that's working. It's not. Mother says, this about aeroplanes. I remember it very vividly. That you think that this aeroplane, uh, it's because of the technical aspects that it is working so nicely. But it's just grace which works through either a medicine or a person or a book or any technical seemingly perfection. It's just grace that works. So I think if we have that idea even in our day-to-day life that it's only grace that is working, then that sense of doership can maybe take rest.
yeah. So helpless I am, okay. So either I can use that helplessness and go towards the victim road.
Hmm.
Let's see how, or I can say that, okay, I had no control anyways and deepen my faith further, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
That when I was feeling help fully there,
Hmm.
that was also grace, and this is also grace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we've already covered this, that where am I putting my energies? And we last two harmony circles were on the topic failure, exploring failure. And there too, the main thing was that what am I failing at? What am I succeeding at? One has to look at that. One cannot just say, okay, I failed, I succeeded. I failed, I succeeded. Because if you're failing at like great things that are worth failing, like, so great, good for you, good life. And if you're succeeding at things that actually mean nothing, it's very easy to say this right now because, it's just words. And yet, when it's happening, that you feel like a failure again and again and again, just the way the collective is, that, okay, things are not happening. It's been 1 month, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, those timelines and those comments and those maybe the judgments that you have passed on people yourself, right? When they come to you, it's hard to keep saying that I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, right? So again, it's very important to see how I'm dealing with things on a day to day level, because these are the things in which, we can, I don't know, be more, I don't know, and not follow the dictates of how we are told it should be followed. So if there are difficulties, if we can use them to purify our own selves, how beautiful. Present our own self, how beautiful. And that's what our focus should be anyways, and
Hmm.
not outside. Yeah.
There was a friend of mine who recently was undergoing a bit of turmoil in family matters, like again and again hospitalization of his first mother, then father, and house change, not liking the new place at all. And he is also a follower of Mother Sri Aurobindo's words, so he has a bit of idea of what they say about these situations. But still, because at times situations become so overwhelming that we lose the focus. So then he was just sharing with me, like, you share with a friend that, again, my dad has been hospitalized and mother is also not well. And I had to just do one thing, which made him kind of, maybe rise up to his feet. I said, you are a warrior, and this is what we are supposed to do, that take all these difficulties as raw material and learn what they are trying to tell us. Because even in these difficult situation, I think we realize that we have so many likings and preferences. This should how, the things should be, this is how the things should happen, this is the house that I like, we should be there. So, and then we suffer if that house doesn't, come to us. So I think to see that we still have so many likings and preferences, and to also see that when the things don't go our way, how disappointed we get and how much we suffer. And that's the reason why Mother Sri Aurobindo or other master would say becoming desireless is the starting point. Because if you keep desiring and you still have likings and preferences, then we are bound to suffer, because things will not happen the way we want them to happen, since we don't have the larger view of our growth. So everything happens for a reason, and if we can just go with the flow and take out the essence from any difficulty. And if I see that, oh, I still have so many likings, my father is in the hospital, but I would not like to him to be in the hospital, that's why I'm suffering. Or maybe my father is in the hospital, but I don't want to actually be in the hospital with him, but I have to because I'm the only son. So what to do? So again, there is a liking, there is a preference, and that's what making me suffer. So I think it's good to realize that it's not the outer situation that is making me suffer, it's my liking about the outer situation or not liking about the outer situation that makes me suffer. That I don't want to be here and I am here, that's what is making me suffer. If I can just drop those ideas from the mind. So what, mother shares here, that to fight against one's own difficulties, one's own imperfections, one's own obscurities. So these veils that distort my vision from time to time, that I know what is right and that right is not happening, and hence I would keep on worrying. So just dropping that rightness, righteousness. And this purifies us, that grounds us. So facing the furnace of inner purification, so that it does not become necessary to pass once more through one of those terrible gigantic destructions. And if I don't learn, and this is very common, people who are in this therapies and all these spiritual discussions, they know that if you have a relationship or a partner, and if we don't learn whatever the partner has to give us, then even if you have another relationship, it would be a similar issue that we will be facing, either with a partner or with a workplace. So the issues will get repeated. So if I face it at once, then they don't need to again happen on and on and on.
And so this is the end of the passage. So this is the problem before us. It is for each one to solve it in his own way. So, any reflections from anybody before we move on? It's really, even the last line, how we don't have to be copies again. I remember once reading a quote from Sri Aurobindo. It was like that, the teacher just lights the torch. He doesn't say walk there, see that. See. I mean, he just gives light and you see what you see because he can't show you things. And for everybody, it's different things that they need to see. We all here say maybe, one video, maybe a 5 minutes video. And if we would ask, everybody would have gotten something else, from what matters to them. Yeah, so again, because we have this tendency to just want to copy or become this, or just say that, okay, this is a formula that would work. We all have our journeys, we all have our own ways of solving them, and there's no right or wrong way. So, whatever takes me to light, whatever makes me light, will be my way. So, this is the end of this passage, a decisive turning point. So the call was the first chapter, the great adventure, the sublimest of adventures, and a decisive turning point. This was the sunlit part. So, one more thing that it's very simple. We have seen it often, but again, very strongly resonated when this passage we were taking. How again failure, stumbling seems like a failure, right? That you're not walking, you're not running, you're stumbling. And I want to back off, right? I want to say, no, I don't want to fail. I want things to be perfect and I want to, around running. But here, by your stumbling, the world is perfected. So that too gives some level of, relaxation in the being or peace that, yes, everything that, of course, we have been told again and again that everything has a purpose. Yes, Sham, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, now it's audible.
Yeah, I just stumbled. Okay.
I'm sorry, what was that all? You got mute now.
Yeah, I just stumbled. Okay. Just while I was hearing this quote, I was about to fall down, but I did
Okay.
balance myself. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe
Good that.
Almighty had. Yeah, yeah. Please go on, ma'am.
No, go ahead, Sham. Go ahead.
Maybe Almighty had ordained it in that manner that the quote, timing of the quote, and me falling down, it would coincide.
Yeah. Okay. So, do we have anything, any sharing for the 5-day study circle? If yes, we can unmute and share that.
Actually, I'm outside. Can I talk a bit later? Maybe after 5 minutes.
Absolutely, yes.
I want to share something here. I lost my mother last year, and she suffered almost for 6-7 years. So even till date, I have this question to God that why she had to suffer so much, because she was actually really a very nice person. Not saying because she was my mother, but in a real sense, she was a very good-hearted person. So I keep asking this question to God every day that why she had to suffer so much. And sometimes I feel I don't get the answer, and I feel I'm lost.
I think, like we were discussing, that somehow we just see we see everything at a very superficial level. We see suffering and pain also at a very superficial level. Like we remember how the person was or is in pain, right? We see that. We see the difficulties on the surface that it's carrying. We don't see how it was, how the challenges shape us. We don't see how the suffering it's like a tunnel, right? Like it just takes you somewhere and puts you somewhere else. Because in non-suffering, we stay at one place. Pain is like, I cannot stay here. It's too painful, too painful, too painful. I have to go somewhere else where this is bearable. And because I feel I'm just this limited person, and this person is in pain, this person is in pain, this person is in pain. When through the tunnel you pass, you realize that you were never this limited person. You start seeing yourself a lot of times, in third person. You start feeling these things that, yes, there is pain, but the one who's experiencing pain is not me. So I guess I don't know, just some things to reflect on, that how I had taken, how I take suffering. Is that true? Or there could have been more things that, I don't know, she got through it, we got through it.
So, Jeshi, did you see any changes in your mother? Like you said, 5 to 6 years she was suffering before she passed on.
Uh, y- yeah, she was diabetic,
Hmm.
and then she lost her sight. And I have my elder brother, he was taking care of her. So yeah, it's like by years the her health was deteriorating. She had some infection in intestine. So the
So
doctor said,
what about some inner changes? So these are outer changes that you are talking of, the changes
yes,
that happened in the body because of the diabetes.
yeah.
Did you also observe any changes in her attitude as she kind of went on with this?
Uh, no, actually, she has got tremendous willpower. We all say that because she had cancer when I was just 1.5 year old. So that also she came through very nicely with chemo and everything. So nature, why? I mean, you're telling the
So
feelings you're.
I'm saying, I'm asking you that, for example, if there is a relative in front of me, who is undergoing an illness, so
Yes.
the relative can be very positive throughout the illness, or the relative can go deep down and why me, that can happen. So how was it with your mother? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, she used to feel bad that why it's happening to her. Because I had my child, and the first birthday she got the illness. So she used to feel that she's not able to come to me and see the child. Every year we used to go, then later she lost her sight. So उनको बहुत वो अंदर से बहुत बुरा लगता था, why me?
Yeah, which is bound to happen, it's very
Yes.
natural. Yeah. And this is where we start from, and uh, I think we have to realize again, बार बार ना अंदर एक अपना inner compass को realignment चाहिए होता है,
हाँ.
because we lose focus. Why are we here at all? मतलब मनुष्य जन्म लिया ही क्यों है ना? So
Yeah.
if we read any scripture, if we go to any masters, true gurus, they would not tell you that the true purpose of life is to settle down, have family, have good job, have 4 children, and that's it. Has any scripture told us that? And if
No.
If it has, then let us, talk about it in the next study circle. All the scriptures tell us the purpose of human life is growth of consciousness. लेकिन हमें ये याद ही नहीं आता है ना?
Yeah.
Because the society tells us, oh, your family is not okay, your relationships are breaking, oh, something is wrong with you, right? You're going to have an illness, oh, something is wrong, oh, you must be suffering, right? So the focus is not right, and that is why it makes us suffer even more. Now imagine that we are educated from the beginning that the purpose of this life is growth of consciousness, growing as an individual, perfecting ourselves, right? Now I would not mind any pain or difficulties on the way, because the purpose is not to keep settled families and have happy children, settled jobs, good fame, good name, good respect. That is not the purpose. What is the purpose? Purpose is evolution, growth. And if that is happening, everything is allowed. So we have to again and again realign the purpose why we are there. मानुष जन्म अमोल रे, तू माटी में ना घोल रे, अब तो मिला है फिर ना मिलेगा, कभी नहीं कभी नहीं कभी नहीं. This is another song, famous one.
Yeah, repeat once again. Yeah.
मानुष जन्म अमोल रे, तू माटी में ना घोल रे, अब तो मिला है फिर ना मिलेगा, कभी नहीं कभी नहीं कभी नहीं. And it goes on. I'll tell you the whole song later. So the crux said that the human birth is a very precious birth. Why precious? Because a cow will remain a cow as long as it has the body of a cow. But human being is not supposed to suffer like how we suffer, because we have the possibility to turning everything towards divine and perfecting ourselves. So we don't have to suffer if we change the attitude. And that is why we are here. Otherwise, what is the purpose of human birth? So we are not here, and that is why then the shift in consciousness will happen. So if somebody's family is struck with seeming tragedy, then we will not look at it as a tragedy. We will, as Taru was sharing earlier, we will actually look at it, wow, how blessed that person is that he has been granted this difficulty, because he has the strength to go through that difficulty and transcend the limitations. Because the purpose is growth of consciousness. हमारा फोकस ही राइट नहीं होता, एंड दैट इज वाई वी सफर. तो अब मुझे क्या लग रहा है, मैं घर पे बैठी हूँ, आई हैव कैंसर, मैं घर पे बैठी हूँ, मुझे क्या लग रहा है, और मुझे तो वहां होना चाहिए था फैमिली फंक्शंस में. क्यों? क्योंकि सोसाइटी यही बता रही है कि अरे यही तो करने आए हो, फैमिली फंक्शन, सेलिब्रेशंस. सोसाइटी ये नहीं बता रही कि काम नहीं है ये, दिस इज नॉट वाई वी आर हियर. सो वी सफर, सो आई सफर, because I want to be there, but I am here. So if my focus gets reoriented that, okay, I have this illness, yes, I am in pain, but okay, let us see what this pain is here to work on me. How is it shaping me? Because that is my purpose. That is why I am here as a human being. Now, last one thing which I want to share also is that the point that I was a good human being, why did I have to suffer? Now the premise, uska background dekho kahan se aa raha hai. Is it all the bad people who go through illnesses? ये मेरी सोच कहाँ से आई? क्योंकि न्यूज़पेपर तो हम रोज पढ़ते हैं, रोज एक्सीडेंट्स होते हैं, है ना, रोज कोई ना कोई बीमारी होती है. तो मुझे क्या, कहाँ से ये लगने लग गया कि मैं कोई एक स्पेशल बीइंग हूँ, स्पेशल जंतु हूँ, उनको हो सकता है बट मेरे को नहीं हो सकता. ये कहाँ से आई सोच? So again, if we can reflect upon that, so it's making me one. I'm now having the same ground. I have cancer, others also go through cancer. I am a human being, other can also transcend it. So it brings me on the same ground. I am no special. पहले मुझे लग रहा था मैं कुछ स्पेशल हूँ, आई एम वेरी स्पेशल बीइंग, इट विल हैपन मे बी टू अदर्स बट नॉट टू मी. तो ये कहाँ से आ रही है सोच हमारी? आई थिंक दैट इज ऑल्सो वन थिंग विच आई वुड लाइक टू रिफ्लेक्ट अपॉन. हाँ जी,
Yeah,
बताओ. हाँ,
and ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, आप अच्छे हो तो आपके साथ सब अच्छा ही होगा. So I think that also seeps into our mind from childhood, that मैं अच्छी हूँ तो मेरे साथ कुछ बुरा हो नहीं सकता. So I feel when it happens, we are
हाँ
not able to take it.
बिल्कुल. और देखो, जब ये बोल रहे हैं कि अब आप अच्छे हो तो आपके साथ अच्छा ही होगा, वो अच्छा भी हम टोटली मटेरियल सेंस में ले रहे हैं कि आपकी फैमिली सेटल रहेगी, 2
Yes.
प्यारे प्यारे बच्चे, उनको कुछ नहीं होगा. सो उसको भी हम बॉडीली सेंस में ले रहे हैं. बहुत अच्छी
Mhm.
जॉब, वेल पेइंग जॉब, 2-3 कारें, इसका मतलब अच्छा. तो ये डेफिनेशंस को क्वेश्चन करना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि ये कहाँ से मैंने इनको इंटीग्रेट कर लिया, और कभी
Very true.
क्वेश्चन भी नहीं किया, कभी क्वेश्चन भी नहीं किया, है ना. और अगर आप देखो, इफ यू लुक एट पीपल हु रियली ट्रूली इंस्पायर अस, आप देखोगे दे हैव बीन थ्रू सो मच इन देयर लाइफ, दैट इज व्हाट हैज शेप्ड देम. तो अब उनको भी तो आप अच्छा ही बोलोगे ना. तो आप किस चीज़ को अच्छा बोलोगे? एक सेटल्ड फैमिली एंड एवरीथिंग नाइस, हंकी डोरी, विच नेवर इज एक्चुअली देयर बिकॉज इट्स ओनली एन अपीयरेंस. अंदर सबके भसड़ मची होती है, बिकॉज वी कैन नेवर स्टे जॉयफुल इफ वी आर डिसकनेक्टेड फ्रॉम आवर सोल्स. सो अगर मेरे को आइदर थ्रू एन इलनेस, आइदर थ्रू एन हैप्पीनेस, मुझे अगर एक कनेक्टिंग पॉइंट मिल रहा है टू कनेक्ट डीपली विद माई बींग, दैट इज द सक्सेस, दैट इज द सक्सेस. सो हमको सक्सेस की भी डेफिनेशन चेंज करनी पड़ेगी ना. सो इट्स गुड दैट इट मेक्स अस वंडर एंड मेक्स अस क्वेश्चन कि ये कैसे मैंने अपने अंदर ले लिया और कभी क्वेश्चन भी नहीं किया. And also, when our relatives go through illnesses, है ना, we also suffer with them. Now this can also be a point of linking myself to other humanity. Oh, this is how people suffer when they go through loss of a loved one. Now I know, now I know. वो जो people जिनके बारे में हम अखबारों में पढ़ते हैं, वो कोई और थोड़ी ना है, हम ही तो हैं. Now I know. So we can also use this pain or suffering that we go through our loved ones or through our own self as a grounding and a connecting link, which I think is very important. क्योंकि हम इतना हमको शेल्ड लाइफ में जीते हैं ना, वही 4 लोग और 4 फैमिली वाले, बस बाकी सब बेगाने. तो इट्स गुड टू कनेक्ट थ्रू अवर सफरिंग टू अदर्स. In Tignathan, he shares something on suffering. He shares that suffering is no problem. We must know the art of suffering well. तो आप सफ़र कर रहे हो अपनी मम्मी के लिए, आप अभी भी यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट इट, विच इज़ वेरी गुड बिकॉज समथिंग इज देयर विच इज स्टिल टू बी रिवील टू यू. तभी आपके मन से अभी तक वो गया नहीं, विच इज़ गुड थिंग. सो इफ़ यू कैन use this suffering that you are going through, not disprove it, it is not there, oh I will transcend it. No, yes it is there, and how can I make the best use of it? So, oh, this is how people suffer when they are feeling so helpless, when their loved ones are suffering. Now I know their pain. So like this, when we take the attitude, then we use the suffering. This is the art of suffering. तो ये भी आपकी possibility है, to soften your heart and to open the doors of your heart. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Yeah.
One thing that had come to me before too, when I was sharing on how we don't see things till completion, right? How we stop in between everything. If something is happening to me, say for example, I shared about say death, right? So I see death and I say, oh my God, अब मेरा क्या होगा, है ना? Kinds that ways and stuff, and I go into my own thing, कि, oh, that person has left, what will happen to me? I get this side, I get inside, oh God, oh God, oh God. I don't see that, oh, he has died, and I could be next. What am I doing about it, right? As in, I don't see that, okay, this body right now right now its certainty is death, right? Death is my truth for right now. What am I doing for it? Like the same suffering can take me more inside me, that that helplessness, that victim, that guilt, that कि अरे मैंने कुछ बुरा करा होगा, everything. I get into the dal. Or the same suffering, the same death can be a wake up call that, okay, he has gone or she has suffered. I could be next. What am I doing so that I don't get into that, like you said, that bhasar, कि कैसे देखूं इसको, अलग से कैसे देखूं? I'm not the body, I'm not the body, I'm not the body. I've heard it 50,000 times. But what does it mean? Sitting with it for 2 minutes, right? Like right now, I am on earth and I cannot go to, say, an engagement that I was supposed to go to. And tomorrow I might not even be here, right? What am I doing to prepare for that party, which will not be on this realm, right? Like I don't take things to completion. And अगर एक बस ये principle भी change कर लो life में, it see through, okay, what after that, what after that, what after that, what does this mean? Things would change a bit, right? That yes, Sham, please.
Sham, do you want to share? Oh, I think he's on and off traveling. Yeah. Okay. Sham, did you want to share? I don't know if we can hear.
So we can take another passage or a quote, or Jayashree, if there's anything else also, I don't know if it's coming to you right now. If you want to, take things further right now here with us, it's absolutely okay for you to say more.
Yeah, it's like this is what keeps going in my mind, and फिर मतलब बहुत सारे सवाल उठते रहते हैं. We do this, that. At the end of the day, I feel not able to do anything. I mean, कोई एक काम अच्छे से नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, but we have to do it. आपको ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, but at the end I think क्यों करना है, मतलब finally करना क्या है? Like वो जो consciousness आप बोलते हो, कभी कभी सोचती हूँ कि मतलब all these kind of questions keep coming in my mind. You have to look good, you have to cook well, you have to bring up your child in a very nice way, you have been judged in so many ways, but at the end of the day, what am I doing? I keep asking this question.
Yeah, good questions. First of all, better than the other questions that we usually ask ourselves. And I think ask more, right? So you've said so many things. Yes, okay, people say you have to cook well. Okay, people say you have to look good. You have to do this. What am I getting after hearing or listening to these people who are making me do 15 things, 20 things, who have made me live the life that I am living? I don't even know if I wanted to live my life this way. What have I received except some brownie points or some comment कि हाँ ये तूने अच्छा करा, ये तूने अच्छा करा. And then the next thing is, but आगे 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 ये जो these things, that is approvals that I am doing all this for, what has it really given me? ये भी क्वेश्चन करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है कि अच्छा अच्छा मील नहीं बनता, आई एम नॉट अ गुड कुक, व्हाट डज दैट मीन? मतलब क्यों कर रही हूँ मैं, क्या मिल रहा है मुझे? और अगर जॉय से नहीं कर रही हूँ, लाइक यू सेड, करना पड़ रहा है, सो इज इट एक्चुअली डूइंग मी गुड और इज एक्चुअली डूइंग मी बैड? इससे बेटर क्या ये नहीं होगा कि ना करूं? मतलब क्या ये एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देखा जा सकता है?
So let us, I thought maybe it's a very good point to maybe get in touch with what we are feeling right now, and maybe 2 minutes of uh, Tonglen, if we don't mind, right? So, Jaishi,
हाँ जी.
um, so in Tonglen, what we do is whatever you are feeling right now, like the confusion, the turmoil, whatever you are feeling right now, we connect with that in silence. You connect with that, you validate that, yes, it is there. I am feeling confused. I feel the turmoil. And then you connect with all the people who are going through such a turmoil, how I am going through. Okay. So
Okay.
we like we'll be closing eyes for 2 3 minutes. You get in touch with your own state, and then you get in touch with, oh, now I know how people go through this suffering and pain when they are going through turmoil and inner confusion. Now I know. So you connect with that, you inhale their suffering. With the in breath, you inhale their suffering, and with the out breath, the exhaling breath, you send them, may they have the simplicity and joy that they are looking for. May I have the simplicity and joy that I am looking for. So, also including our own self and all the others who are suffering like me. Okay?
Yeah.
Shall we do that for two,
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
minutes?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So, just deeply connecting with the state of being I am in. Confusion, the turmoil, the helplessness, the ignorance, not knowing what to do next. Yes, it is there. I don't know what's the way ahead. And now I know the pain of all those who are suffering like me. Now I know their struggle. And taking in all the suffering of all those infinite beings like me, letting it come in with the in breath, and with the out breath, releasing joy and simplicity for myself and all those people. Now I know their suffering. May they have the joy and simplicity of a simple mind and a light and uncomplicated mind. With the in breath, inhaling all the suffering, including mine, and with the out breath, a simple mind, light and joyous mind. May we all experience peace and lightness in us. Inhaling all the complications of the infinite beings that are connected to me, and sending them ease, lightness, and joy. letting this inhaling of suffering open my heart, the locks that I have placed on my heart for all the other beings out there. And whenever I have any experience of any turmoil, agitation, suffering, restlessness in me, immediately I can become aware of it, look at it. Yes, it is there. I am suffering. Now I know how people suffer when they feel judged, they feel insulted, rejected, they lose their loved ones. Now I know. So at any point of time, I can use this tool to open the doors of my heart. May everyone have simplicity, joy, and lightness of mind. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, thanks for this channeling meditation. Okay. And thanks to Madam Charu also for telling that we give too much importance. Like we give undue importance to people around us. We tell us that we need to look good or we need to act better or we need to behave in a particular way. But actually, who are these people? If suppose if tomorrow we are dead, then we won't be able to connect with these people. So there's no use and what do you call, there's no point in giving undue importance. And I often think myself that whenever someone would tell me that you are an idiot or you are a dolt or duffer, then I would myself ask that if I am a dolt, are you a Dexter? Okay. And it's sort of brought comfort to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Sham. Okay. So, Jeshi, you feeling okay? Were you able to do the practice?
Yes, yes, feeling really good.
Okay. So this is, a very handy tool that we have. It's
Okay.
like a very quick game changer. Immediately,
Another
it
thing
shifts
regarding
your
that loss of a dear
consciousness.
one, what Madam was sharing, I did lose my mother to cancer. Okay, so for 2 years, she was in and out of PMS Tata Memorial Hospital, Mumbai, and she was not even able to walk. She was not even able to talk.
We are not able to hear you at all, Sham. Your voice is gone.
I think he's traveling. He had message so on and off.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
one thing
So
I just want to clarify, like, when I said ki who are these people, I don't have to listen to them. I think it also has many approaches, right? Like one can take it in arrogance that who can tell me what to do. Or, we can also, because we are all connected anyways, right? We are just have different shades, different grades of the same thing. When I see this, when I see people saying that this has to be done, I am saying I don't have to pick that up. I mean, and that's okay. I can give myself that choice that yes, they think this is important, but if I look within, it's not important for me. But that doesn't give me the reason to say that okay, they don't matter, they don't make any sense, let me shun them. Rather, that too can be used as, I pray that they can also see that this is just a limitation that, the society has imposed. They too can be free of these do's and don'ts, and this is how a perfect life should be. So when we do practices like tongling, or when we just do prayers, we must include them, that, and pray that, I can see this, that this is not something I need to carry on my shoulders. So I hope they can see it too. And then again, that otherwise it gives us some ill will. It's like, okay, that person was making me do that, he's bad, I'm good, I suffered because of him, he should be guilty, I'm the victim. It just again drags us into things which don't give us anything. Like दीमक की तरह अंदर से चीजें बस खाई जा रही हैं, आगे कुछ ग्रोथ नहीं हो रही, मतलब पक्का नहीं हो रही है वो, राइट? जस्ट अंदर से it's just getting eaten and eaten by all the things that I am giving importance to. So just that, okay, don't take it into in that sense, because one can of course take it in that.
Yeah, I think this is very important. Good that you clarified. नहीं तो अभी शाम निकलता, होते कौन हो तुम रोकने वाले मुझे. Yeah, true,
No,
true.
it can't that way now. Actually, we should hammer out what do you call hammer out on the parameter of logic that what he is saying dumb.
Exactly,
उसका कोई
yeah,
सेंस उसका कोई
yeah,
सेंस निकलता है कि नहीं यार. लेकिन but in India क्या है कि people just say anything on any imaginary tell things and what do you call this, anything of their own mind, they utter anything nonsense and lousy. So we need to hammer it out in a very proper manner.
yeah, yeah.
Like people would use that what do you call the WTF very often, okay, without any meaning. If I myself used it, I myself was used to it, but now I have what you call it, I have shown myself done. So there are many things like that. Which people use it
Hmm.
just they pick up from here and there, and they use it very randomly.
Yeah, yeah. So not to take it all to the heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not take it all to the heart and to hammer it on the logic that does that make
Yes,
logic,
yes.
or if it
हाँ,
makes
जिनके
sense
पास लॉजिक हो.
logically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for sharing and putting questions forward which are relevant for all of us. And yeah, more power to each one of us. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.